Hello there, Richard Jerkins here with Jerkins Mortuary Services. Today I would like to introduce to you the embalming machine that is built right here in Castlewood, Virginia in our location. I'd like to go over some of the features with you if you've purchased one of our machines and you're just getting it set up, or if you're new to the understanding of it. Either way, I hope this video helps you. The features of the machine are: from top to the bottom here is a 2-gallon tank. Our machine is not as tall as some of the other machines for the reason of keeping it under a lot of the standardized water stations. After working in a lot of different funeral homes and embalming in different funeral homes, some of them have the high faucets for the standardized water stations, and there's some machines out there that are very tall. So we opted to keep the total height of our machine here where it would fit under most standardized water stations that are in the industry. The glass tube here is 2 gallons. Some of the machines have 3 gallons, some of them have 3.5 gallons, but right now the machine has almost 1 gallon in it for testing purposes. The glass is not labeled. Just know that from the plastic chemical resistant top there to the plastic chemical resistant bottom there, it's a 2-gallon tank, so half is 1 and a quarter is half a gallon. Over here we have the pressure control, which operates the pressure gauge there. Try to zoom. Pressure knobs here. You will see that the gauge goes from 0 up to 60. That is the max on the gauge there, and the machine operates from 0 to 50. You will never see the needle peg out to 60. We did this on purpose so the gauge is never pegged out and the gauge will not then be damaged. You will also see a line here across the gauge which has an air bubble in it, because the gauge is oil filled so the needle doesn't bounce around like the old time gauges. That is on purpose, and oil filled gauges do have an air gap in them. That is for the fact that when things get hot and cold, oil expands and contracts, and there is an air place in there so the gauge itself does not push the oil out. You will see the switch here, the mix, the off, the inject. That should be self-explanatory, but when you're in off or you're in mix, no fluid comes out of the line. You don't need a valve in the line on the cannula, but a lot of folks like to keep that valve on the cannula to be able to turn it on and off. One of the features of our machines is that in the off and in the mix feature, nothing comes out of the line. When the machine is off, the tank does not gravity drain. There is an electric solenoid back in here behind the machine, and when you shut this switch off, this valve inside that you can't see closes and will not allow any fluid to drain out. So this is a feature that's kind of gets on your nerves a little bit if you use some of the older machines. I know currently the Duotronic 5 has that feature as well. If you turn it off, it gravity drains unless you totally turn the rate of flow off. This machine, you can leave it set where you want it and you turn it off. Off is off. Red visually shows you that it is in mix mode. Green visually shows you from across the room that it is in injection mode. Over here, you have the rate of flow control knob, which adjusts not your pressure, but your rate of flow. And here, as I have it running, try to zoom in on the rate of flow meter. Some folks are not familiar with the visual rate of flow sight glass. Right now, and I operate mentally off the left side because it is gallons per minute. The right side is liters per minute. This is more of a European idea, but for the purpose of the US, gallons per minute. I start about right here. when you get the machine, this is going to be my suggestion point, is for you to adjust the knob. The top of the float is the visual rate of flow. Right now we are injecting 0.25 gallons per minute, and that is exactly what it says. In a 60-second window of time, you are going to be injecting 1 quart. 0.25 is 1/4 of a gallon. This puts you injecting an entire gallon in about 4 minutes. That is a good average rate of flow for a normal case that is draining well. And sorry for the camera here, doing the best I can. I tell folks to start around 15 to 18 psi. When you get the machine, you have an average case, adjust to about 15 psi there for the machine, and at about, you have to balance between the two knobs, at about 0.25 for the rate of flow. And once again, my pressure jumped up, so you have to kind of play the game. Let me zoom out, and that way you just get the case dialed in for the pressure and the rate of flow. That's why we put the pressure and the rate of flow visually close, so you're looking at one place in the machine. Here I have my cannula. I'm going to try to get this to where this makes sense for you. The advantage of the rate of flow is that you can really dial down your pressure, and then you can dial down the rate of flow to almost, right now it is shut off. Right here it is totally off. We're going to open it up, and when you have those cases where you're embalming up on the posted cases, or a child or a youth, and you really need a low rate of flow, you can dial down the pressure here, and you can really lower the rate of flow down to just a steady trickle. Depending on the case needs, your pressure and your rate of flow show you. Right now, although it looks like it's off in the video, the float is just fractionally off the bottom, and this visually shows you in real time what is absolutely happening with the injection currently. I say it that way because when this is flowing and everything is doing well, the rate of flow shows you what you're injecting. If you have a blocked or plugged cannula, the rate of flow will shut off. Now this machine keeps pumping. Here's a hose clamp, and I purposely put an old cannula and an old style valve on here for the purpose of this video, because most folks will get our machine and they're going to put their favorite cannula on it. Once you inject, then when you turn your valve off, everything is going to change here. When you turn that valve off, that rate of flow drops to the bottom. Your pressure holds stable. Right now you are pressuring up that line, and you're also pressuring up that hose within those two hose clamps. So you have the machine set. Everything is doing fine. Once again, I know my camera works not real good here, but I'm going to turn that cannula valve off, and this is going to simulate if you get between the layers of the artery, or if you have a plugged cannula and you turn the machine on, everything's working properly with the machine, and then this is what you get. Your rate of flow falls to the bottom, and you're flowing nothing, even though your pressure is set and your rate of flow is set. So when you start your embalming, you put your cannula over the tank, you set the pressure you want to start with, you set the rate of flow, and if you put the cannula in and you hit inject on the machine, and then you slowly see that thing fall to the bottom. That is because everything is pressured up. At this point, the machine could possibly blow the hose off if you don't have your hose clamps tight. If you prefer a lock-on quick connect hose, I have the ability to offer that. That is not with the price point of the machine, but if you want a high pressure hose with the quick connects, as some of the other machine manufacturers are using that, I can certainly add that to this machine. We use a standard pipe thread in the brass fitting of the machine for the hose barb, and those I can get you through Instrument Design, as I am a distributor for them, and adapt your machine to quick connects. I can help you adapt your trocars to quick connects, your aspirators, have those fittings available. But once again, that is not actually included with the price point of the machine. So there you have it. It's really that simple. Green is inject, you adjust your pressure, you adjust your rate of flow to what you want the case to be. For a normal case, I'm going to encourage you to start about 15 to 18 and set it on about 0.25 for this machine. The only other thing I would add for the purpose of this video is when you get the machine, you may find initially when you turn it on and plug it in that all of these controls are crazy, and you're hitting start, it won't stay running, the machine's acting really crazy. The machine has to have fluid complete in the system with no air. The start button is a safety. When the tank runs empty, the machine self shuts off to save the pump. So when you put fluid back in it, you have to hit the start button every single time. Pressure drops, you plug it in, you turn it on mix, nothing happens until you hit start. It detects it has fluid in it and it stays running. The machine's in the off position. You have to have 3 or 4 psi in the system for it to have enough pressure to stay running. You flip it to inject, nothing happens until you hit start. Once you hit start, everything's fine. When you run the tank out dry, you don't have to, but if you run the tank out dry, it will surge a few times, make some noise, and it will auto shut off. That is the safety feature that's designed into it, the auto shut off. I've got our name on the badge here, our website, my contact info's on the website. If you have problems with your machines or you have questions once you get it, you call me direct. The number's on the website. I run a mortuary service, I do transports. If you're embalming in the middle of the night, you feel free to call me. I will answer my phone and help you. If you have a problem with your machine that you bought from me or a question about it, you call me 24/7. I will be glad to help you. The machine is a quality machine made from modern quality components. It is built here in our shop in Castlewood, Virginia, and the components are standardized across many industries and are replaceable. The pattern that we're seeing with some of the machines that are on the market currently is that they're going to a complete modular system and the components are not replaceable. When you buy the machine and a component fails, you simply have to buy another machine. And I say that because I service and work on embalming machines, and that got us to the place of building this machine based on some of the designs that are out there. It's kind of like the automobile industry as well. They're making machines to where you can't work on them and you have to simply pay the big price and buy another machine. And we're trying to hold out on a machine that offers you a reduced rate versus what's currently on the market, and you're not trapped once you buy it. To those of you who bought my machine, thank you for helping me. Thank you for helping our business. Thank you for helping our family, as we are a small family-owned business. If you're considering an embalming machine, I would ask you to consider ours. After 30 years in the business, I feel that our machine will produce you a quality embalming and offers some features of some of the others at a lesser price point. If you have any questions, look us up on the web, jerkinsmortuary.com. Give us a call. Thank you for your time.